What if I told you that most of America's millionaires are hiding in plain sight? They aren't the people you see on social media, posing with rented Lamborghinis or on the deck of a yacht they don't own. The real millionaires might just be your neighbors. The ones who drive a 4-year-old Toyota, live in a normal house, and pack their own lunch for work. It doesn't quite add up, does it? But the data is clear. A huge number of America's wealthy look, for all intents and purposes, completely average. At the same time, a shocking number of people who look rich are actually drowning in debt. In fact, studies show that nearly half of Americans earning over $100,000 a year report living paycheck to paycheck. They are trapped in a cycle of earning more, only to spend more, a treadmill of consumption that leaves them with zero real financial security. This points to a massive misunderstanding of what wealth even is in our culture. We've been taught to think that wealth is about what you spend. But the truth is, real lasting wealth is built on a single powerful principle that these quiet millionaires have mastered. And it has nothing to do with showing off. The secret isn't some complicated formula. It's just not glamorous. It's the simple, almost boring practice of intentionally living below your means. This is the huge difference between looking rich and being wealthy. The people with 7-figure net worths aren't playing the same game as everyone else. They're not trying to win a status competition. They're trying to win their own freedom. And the number one rule of their game is to prioritize financial independence over impressing other people. The book that blew the lid off this whole topic, The Millionaire Next Door, shattered the myth of the flashy millionaire decades ago. And its lessons are more relevant now than ever. The authors, Thomas Stanley and William Danko, researched a simple but startling truth. A high income doesn't mean you're wealthy. Wealth is what you keep, not what you spend. It's the fancy car you didn't buy, the designer clothes you passed on, and the extravagant vacation you decided against. This is a complete mindset shift. Society is screaming at us to consume. You get a raise, time to upgrade the car. You get a bonus, buy a bigger house. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's the anchor that keeps even high earners stuck. Research from early 2024 found that an incredible 36% of Americans earning $200,000 or more are living paycheck to paycheck. They're caught on a hamster wheel, running faster and faster, but going absolutely nowhere. The millionaire next door sees this trap and actively avoids it. They view every dollar not as something to spend, but as a soldier to deploy in their army of financial freedom. They aren't depriving themselves. They're making a strategic trade. They're swapping short-term thrills for long-term freedom. They value their time more than they value stuff, and they know that the less they have to spend, the less they're tied to a job they might not even like. This isn't about being cheap. It's about being intentional. So, how does this actually play out? The first and most obvious habit is a kind of calculated frugality. Again, this isn't about being miserable to save a penny. It's about spending mindfully. While the world is obsessed with luxury brands, an Experian automotive study found that 61% of wealthy people drive Hondas, Toyotas, and Fords. Just think about that. People who could walk into a dealership and buy a top-of-the-line Mercedes often choose a reliable Toyota Camry or a Ford F-150 instead. Why? Because they understand opportunity cost. Take a car, for example. Buying a reliable used car for $27,000 instead of a new luxury car for $47,000 saves you $20,000 right away. But the real magic is what happens when you invest that difference. That $20,000 with an average market return could grow to over $93,000 in 20 years. The millionaire next door doesn't just see a car. They see what that money could become. They see a down payment on a rental property, a year of early retirement, or a fully funded college fund for their kid. This way of thinking extends to their homes. They tend to live in modest neighborhoods and often stay in the same house for years. Even as their net worth grows into the millions, they avoid the dream house trap that comes with a nightmare mortgage, higher property taxes, and never-ending maintenance bills. By keeping their biggest expenses, housing and transportation, on a tight leash, they free up a huge chunk of their income for their real priority, building wealth. You don't just trip and fall into $1 million net worth. It's the result of relentless, disciplined planning. According to a Northwestern Mutual study, 78% of millionaires call themselves disciplined financial planners, while only 45% of the general population says the same. They essentially act as the CFO of their own lives. This all starts with a budget. Now, budgeting gets a bad rap. People think it's all about restriction and telling yourself no. But for the wealthy, a budget is a tool for empowerment. It's not about limiting their life. It's about funding the life they actually want. They know exactly where every dollar is going, from groceries to utility bills. And this isn't just about tracking expenses. It's about making sure their spending lines up with what they truly value. On top of that, they set clear, actionable goals. They have a number in mind for retirement, for their kids' education, for hitting financial independence. This gives them a target to shoot for and helps them make smarter decisions every single day. They aren't just saving whatever is left over at the end of the month. That's a recipe for failure. They live by the pay yourself first rule, where a set portion of their income, often 15-20% or more, is automatically sent to savings and investment accounts before they can even think about spending it. They treat saving like a bill they have to pay, just as important as their mortgage. Building wealth isn't about hitting a home run with one lucky stock pick. It's about getting on base, consistently, month after month, year after year. The huge majority of self-made millionaires, about 80%, invested in their company's 401k plan. They get the power of compound interest and understand that time in the market is way more important than timing the market. They build their fortunes with slow, steady, and frankly boring investments in things like index funds and real estate. While the news is filled with stories of people getting rich quick on risky bets, the quiet millionaires are sticking to a proven plan. They keep investing whether the market is soaring or sinking, a strategy called dollar cost averaging. This takes the emotion out of it and ensures they're buying more when prices are low. Many also diversify where their money comes from. A large number of millionaires are self-employed or have multiple streams of income. This could be from a side hustle, rental properties, or dividend-paying stocks. This doesn't just speed up their wealth building, it also gives them a safety net. If one source of income disappears, they have others to lean on. This kind of financial resilience is a key part of the wealthy mindset. Maybe the single biggest difference between the millionaire next door and the person pretending to be one is how they view debt. Wealthy people know the difference between good debt and bad debt. Good debt, like a smart mortgage on a rental property or a strategic business loan, is used to buy an asset that will either make them money or grow in value. Bad debt, on the other hand, is a wealth-destroying disease. This is your high-interest credit card debt used to fund a lifestyle you can't really afford, personal loans for vacations, and financing on a luxury car that's losing value by the second. Self-made millionaires avoid this kind of debt like the plague. In one study, nearly 3/4 of millionaires have never carried a credit card balance. They get that paying 16% or more in credit card interest is like trying to swim upstream against a powerful current. It makes building wealth almost impossible. This hatred of consumer debt is in their financial DNA. They pay their bills on time and might use credit cards for the rewards, but they pay off the balance in full every single month. They see debt for what it is, a claim on their future income. By keeping it to a minimum, they stay in control of their most powerful wealth-building tool, their money. Living like a broke millionaire isn't about depriving yourself. It's about playing a totally different game. A game where the prize isn't a new watch or a flashy car, but complete and total control over your own life. It's about financial freedoms, less stress, and the power to build a life on your own terms. The rules are simple, but they demand discipline. If this video has made you think differently, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you're ready to take the first step, here's a challenge for you. Start tracking your expenses. For the next 30 days, write down every single dollar you spend. Use an app, a spreadsheet, whatever. You will be shocked by what you find. And to keep learning no-nonsense strategies for building real lasting wealth, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. The path to becoming a millionaire in America for most people is surprisingly simple and unglamorous. It's not about being born into money. Studies consistently show that around 80% of millionaires are self-made. It's not about a 7-figure salary or some lucky break. It's about a series of conscious and deliberate choices you make day in and day out. It's about choosing to save instead of splurge. It's about caring more about your future freedom than your current image. It's about having the discipline to make a budget, the patience to invest for the long haul, and the wisdom to ignore the siren song of consumer debt. These habits may not get you on a reality TV show, but they'll lead you to something way more valuable, a life of genuine financial security and independence. The millionaire next door has nothing to prove to anyone because they already have everything that truly matters.